Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey David, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm an assistant coach on a minor hockey team, and this year, and we won our first. It's our second game. We tied the first one. We won tonight, so that's always exciting.
Nice to get the win.
Very nice.
I'm getting an echo. Are your headphones plugged all the way in?
Yeah, they are. Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you fine. I'm hearing an echo on myself, and it just went away. So obviously something just clicked.
All right.
So that's good.
That is good. All right. So not only did my minor hockey team win, the Oilers lost. So that's the negative segue. 1-0, although they got the loser point. Oh, the always important loser point on a 0-0 tie game. 0-0 tie game. Yeah, the Batman point. But Bruce, it was they were slightly outplayed by the Jets. At least when we go by grade A chances, it was 11 for the Jets, 8 for the Oilers. Not exactly an offensive outburst for Edmonton. They were bottled up most of the game and unable to get those kinds of shots on net. This is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. Let's start with your good thing.
Well, I guess the 1 point is a good thing. The Oilers just didn't have it going tonight. They weren't clicking on offensively really at all. Their big guns were stifled. They weren't finding one another. That was I've never seen a game, I think, where Leon and Connor had less chemistry with each other. They just weren't finding each other with passes and stuff. And the rest of the team can't score. And it came to bite them tonight. I mean, they technically they outshot the Jets 28-23, but 10 of the shots came from the blue line, and hardly any were dangerous chances. They only had one dangerous scoring chance in the first two periods. So to get some good goaltending from Mike Smith and to get some crafty coaching, good call from the bench. When Winnipeg scored on the offside challenge, I said to my wife, well, they might as well go for the call because I don't think they're ever going to score. So they better nip this one in the bud. And it worked out all right. But so that's my good thing. I must say I didn't really have rose-colored glasses watching this game. I found it very frustrating to watch.
Well, 1 point is a very, very good thing.
Oh, you take 1 point on the road.
And the funny thing about clicking is watching that overtime, Bruce. There were so many moments in that overtime where they were one kind of bounce or bobble away from having they did get the one breakaway where McDavid was slashed. Like, why was that not a penalty anyway? But there was all kinds of other moments in the overtime where they were so close to just having that moment where they were going to get that great chance where McDavid or Draisaitl. And there was, of course, the two one-timers which were a bit unfortunate in the McDavid was taking a Draisaitl pass instead of Draisaitl taking a McDavid pass. That's what you want. So, but there wasn't even time there for Draisaitl to put it over to McDavid, right? Like those plays didn't develop where that was even a choice. I don't think they were fairly quickly developing. So there was the overtime was frustrating. They were just so close to winning.
I would have liked to have seen our 50-goal man shoot on at least one of those 2-on-1s because they gave him the slot because they played him to pass and he telegraphed pass all the way both times and neither one worked. Aggravating. And then McDavid missed Draisaitl with what would have been a breakaway pass, and then Draisaitl missed McDavid with what would have been a breakaway pass. Normally they make those kind of passes in their sleep. And finally Leon did hit with actually a spectacularly good
not a pass.
long backhand saucer pass, and McDavid went. But I don't know, I guess, is he out of gas or what? Like he got
Wheeler
almost caught from behind on a breakaway. Like you just don't expect that. So
well,
anyway, I guess after 25 minutes of ice time, maybe. But
Wheeler might have been McDavid might have had to hold up a little bit, hold up in his stride. I couldn't really tell to get the pass, whereas Wheeler might have been just going all out. So there might have been a momentum difference in the moment we're catching up with the play. One player might have been moving quite a bit faster than the other. Did you think Wheeler slashed it? I mean, to me, that was a penalty.
I was too busy watching the puck, David, but I'll go back and look at it. I do know I was a little aggravated at some of the calls and non-calls over the course of the game, like James Neal getting his stick broken in half along the right wing boards in Winnipeg zone uh, that you could hear on the broadcast, and you could also hear Neal swearing at the ref when he didn't call it. And then about a minute later, in the exact same spot, same referee, they called an absolute chintzy holding the stick call on Jujhar Khaira. I mean, 0-0 in the third period. I mean, either call everything or call nothing at that point. And those two right in a row, same spot. You know, I thought I was a little annoyed at that moment, but I have to say I was watching the puck on the McDavid breakaway, and if he got hacked, I'll have to watch the play again because it was
Like it
just.
to me. So, Bruce, my good thing is I'm not usually a fan of the instant replay, but it sure served the Oilers tonight. Like that, and I like the rule a lot better now that it's not used indiscriminately. If you blow it, you get a penalty. So you have to be pretty sure that
Mhm.
you're going to get the call before you call it, and so it's used in the right way. That was an offside play. It was an offside where maybe that little extra uh, bit over the line helped them. Defense has to back off a bit more. Um, it changes the play when someone's offside. It was definitely offside. There was no question about it. The Oilers it was a 0-0 game, a hugely significant moment in the game, and so that was good. I liked it.
Well, I like the. I mean, they got it right from the bench or from upstairs. So I heard Tippett in the post game crediting someone, but I didn't catch the name. But presumably the video coach. Though on the road, it's not necessarily the same setup. But they said they were very confident on the bench that it was going to be called, and there was at least clear enough one. It wasn't one of these sort of vague looking calls with a camera that's located, in the International Space Station, trying to make a trying to determine whether the guy's skate is on or off the ice. Like those ones just drive me nuts, and I hate the offside challenge rule on general principle, and I still do. But I hate it less when they get it right. It's really aggravating when they get it wrong. The thing I hate about offside challenge is that you can challenge an offside, but you have no recourse against an offside that gets blown down in error. So it only ever works to cancel goals, and it never works to add offense. It only subtracts offense. So I think it's unbalanced. The rule is unbalanced. But tonight they made the right call, and and the Stripes made the right call too. And it was, at least it was unambiguous.
I would prefer that they axe it too. I don't think you need that rule. I would just get rid of it.
But then we'd be cursing about how the Jets beat us on an offside goal, right?
Yeah, that'll happen now and then. They might not even done a
Yeah, I said,
replay. They
well,
might not even have replayed to. They might no one might even know, right? The game would have just, there's no sense in going over it. Was it offside? Maybe they would have looked at it. Um, anyway, I was fine with that. So, what's your bad thing, Bruce?
my bad thing. There was a few things tonight, but I'm going to single out Jujhar Khaira for a brain cramp on a line change or a non-line change. And this was a sequence in the first period where his line got trapped in their own end for about 40 or 45 seconds. And they finally got the puck out. And they not only did they get it out, they got it deep. Eventually, they were able to chip it deep into Winnipeg territory. And the standard for line changes on those plays is two guys hustle their butts over to the bench. One guy stays on the ice. He chases a puck into the zone, and then he swoops back and he makes a change coming back up the ice. Well, Riley Sheahan was way ahead of the play, and he was the forechecker, and he did everything right. He swooped in, and he turned, and he went back to, he turned in the right direction so he could get to the bench on the way off. For whatever reason, Khaira, at the end of a 50-second shift, or what should have been the end, follows Sheahan up the ice about 30 feet behind him, no man's land, follows him into the zone, and Sheahan comes back and makes the change. Well, by then, Khaira's trapped out in the middle of the ice. And even though the bench is on his wing, and he literally had, from where he started, he only had to go a few feet to make the change. And as soon as the puck went over the blue line, he should have been hightailing it for the bench. So now the Nugent Hopkins line is out there. And instead of James Neal, they have a gassed Jujar Kara playing a second consecutive 45-second shift because once again they got stuck in their own end and now they got a tired winger who can't clear the puck. And it's just unnecessary. Like, use your brain, man. I mean, that's just discipline. And it's a rookie mistake. And I would be much more tolerant of a rookie mistake coming from an actual rookie.
Inconceivable.
That's,
Why did these are
yeah,
professionals.
exactly.
This is your only job. That's all you do. You play hockey. That's it. How long you've been out there.
Yes.
They're telling you keep your shifts short, be fresh, change off when you get the chance, and you make a mental mistake like that. Like, again, it's inconceivable, and he cannot. If he wants to stay in the NHL, he can't do that. Can't do that.
I mean, it's the third line player, right? I mean, a 45-second shift is the optimum that you want from those guys. And earlier they actually had a long shift because they kept the puck in the Winnipeg end so long, to give that line some credit. But when you're stuck in your own end, where you're at the point where I, as a fan, am saying to my TV, get the puck out, get it in, get off, and you got two guys going in on the forecheck after, just there's nothing to be gained. It's not like he's Leon Draisaitl, and if he stays out for an extra 30 seconds, he might score a goal. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I like it when the guy, when the puck gets deep and the guy chases in there, and then he hustles off the ice. You expect that, and that's the shit.
That's what Shan did.
So sometimes they hustle in there though, and then they come back up the wrong side of the ice, so they can't get off it. That's another one that I don't like. So Bruce, my bad thing was, and I don't really know, it's how much ice time Draisaitl and McDavid got, and like usually when they win, I haven't complained about this all year, and if you win, but I think we've had two kind of flat performances from McDavid in a row, and they're not his best performances, and Draisaitl certainly was a flat performance tonight. So it looks like all that ice time was wearing them. So I'm not really blaming, it's not their fault they're getting played that much, and they might be drained of energy. I guess the problem is a lack of, other players that they feel confident sending out there. What did Nugent Hopkins played 21-29. So their top two centers are just playing a lot. 21-29, that's usually what a center on the first line center will play on a team. Of course, Nugent Hopkins was out for some PK time and power play time, but they don't have a lot of faith, obviously, in Sheahan or Granlund. And I mean, I was, everyone's clapping their hands about Haas getting sent out. I've really liked Gaetan Haas, actually, and I was hoping to see more of him. Now I'm not going to say a lot about it because these are NHL coaches. They're seeing these players in practice and picking up on stuff. But from what I saw, I don't know why they sent that guy down. I would have liked to see him play more. He's the one guy, the one center there who's got some real speed, NHL plus speed, not just NHL average. He can really fly, and he seemed to always be making good plays. And he's the only third or fourth line player who set up a goal, right? He set up Nygaard on that goal. So I would have liked to see him playing in that game. I'd like to, clearly they've got to figure out a way to get some more ice time for some of these other players, because I don't think you can go a whole season, Bruce. Draisaitl played 25-39. McDavid played 24-55. You can't go a whole season playing those guys 25 minutes a game, can you?
Well, Leon's played over 25 minutes now 5 different times already in 9 games.
Now there was overtime, so
yeah.
So that boosts their number quite a bit. Still. Hey, great to see Ethan Barron overtime, by the way. That was, I really like seeing that. And boy, is he ever. Why don't I just segue right now then to my number, because that's my number is 720,000. That's Ethan Bear's cap hit this year. And Bruce, that is one of the bargain contracts this year in the entire NHL. And you pointed this out in a number of posts over the summer. The Oilers didn't have any players in this kind of lower contract demographic who were solid contributors. They didn't have any at all, I don't think, last year, if I'm not mistaken. And so here's someone coming in, and he just looks fantastic, honestly. He's so smart. He's effective. They have a top line pairing right now who is getting the job done in Nurse and Bear. And The second pairing's didn't look too shabby. I didn't think either. Clefbaum and Russell. So good for Ethan Bear, and a huge bargain for the Oilers. Of course, the bad news is, Bruce, he's in the final year of his ELC, so he's going to have to get paid next year, and it's going to be interesting to see how much he gets paid, because the way he's playing, we're looking at it. I think the way he's playing right now, we're looking at least an NHL average salary, which is about that's in the low $3 million range, and
well, we'll see.
If he keeps it up,
that's a huge if. I mean, this is 9 games in.
He keeps it up, it could be more than that, of course. But wow, talk about a change of fortunes in a short time for a player.
Yeah, well, I mean, just him making the team and playing regularly is a big uptick in his career. But for him to be playing top 4 minutes, I mean. Here's the ice time for tonight. This could be my number for the defense corps. Oscar Clefbaum, 27:05.
Wow.
Darnell Nurse, 26:23. Ethan Bear, 25:32. Chris Russell, 22:02. Matt Benning, 10:43. Brandon Manning, 10:07. Like the third pair was not quite an afterthought, but very much like there's a top 4. And then there's 2 guys that they spotted in, and they. I mean, Bear played almost 10 minutes in the third period alone when they really cut it down. So he's a monster in terms of munching the minutes. And when you talk about $720,000 against 25 minutes of ice time, I mean, that's phenomenal.
They really don't trust Brandon Manning, because Benning was playing a lot more than that. But Bear's moved up and he's killing penalties now too. So I think he's taken Benning's time there. I think I'd like to see. It'd be interesting to see a third pairing of William Lagesson and Joel Persson when Persson gets healthy, and because Lagesson's in town, right? He's sitting in the stands right now. I mean, Brandon Manning, he gives his all. I give him that. Like he battles hard, but I'd like to see Lagesson and Benning next game. But I wouldn't mind seeing, when Pearson's healthy, put him on the third pairing, because I think he needs like a couple games, 3, 4, 5 games of third pairing time to get acclimated to the NHL. Playing with Clefbaum is a huge ask. Chris Russell's getting it done there, so that's.
Yeah, Chris Russell is the worst option except for all of the others.
Yeah.
Funny how that works out every year, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing as last year. Last year, it was by game 3, he'd already been promoted to the second pair right side. This year, it took till about game 7. And it took 2 injuries. Like, the coach really did try to keep him down, but when 2 right-shot defensemen go down, then your options are limited, and if you got a versatile player, well, you're likely to use them. So,
it says a lot about their thought about Matt Benning, like that he didn't get the bump up. I guess they would have had to. It would have been difficult. They didn't have an obvious right shot defenseman to recall, other than Evan Bouchard, and they don't want to do that. So it's not much of a comment on Ben. Possibly.
Well, other than I mean, he's locked into the third pairing when he's playing 10 minutes and the other 2 pairings are playing 25.
I'd like to see Benning play with a better puck mover too, Bruce, because. He needs to play with a better puck mover. He can't be the primary puck mover on his pairing, and that's with Manning. That's what he's got to be. Lagesson's probably do you think he's a better puck mover than
Manning?
Than Benning.
Oh, I haven't seen enough of him to know. I expect he's better than Manning.
I expect he's better than Manning too. And you can't put Persson and Benning together because they're both right shot guys.
So my number from this game is 2.
Okay.
And that is the number of shots on goal Winnipeg Jets had in 22 minutes that Darnell Nurse was on the ice 5-on-5. The Oilers outshot the Jets 11-2, and it was similarly 11-3 with Ethan Bear on the ice for 21 minutes. Now, the Jets did miss some goal-plated chances, especially in the first period. And because we don't count shots that are not on the net, I can't tell you without looking hard who was on the ice and who was responsible for those. But the fact remains, the Jets had 2 shots on net for over a period of hockey that Darnell Nurse played tonight. And Nurse himself blocked 4 shots. His goalie only blocked 2. And Darnell, I mean, he made 1 shot block that was just a godsend because the Oilers, this was the McDavid line, Draisaitl, they were running around. Bear got ahead of the play, and 2 Jets got in behind, only Nurse behind, and some guy rifled a shot, Shifley, I think, from the slot. And Bear made Nurse made the hero shot block that bailed him out. That was huge trouble. Like it tasted like a goal was coming because they were just getting beat and they couldn't get out and they were running out of wind and Nurse came up with that big play. He does come up with big plays, David. Some folks see his flaws and he does have them, but man, he brings a lot of positives to the game too.
Oh yeah, and he's someone like Benning who should play with a better puck mover than himself. He's now doing that with Ethan Bear.
Yeah,
and that brings out the best in Darnell Nurse. He can't be if he's the primary guy that you're counting on to move the puck and lug the puck. It's not going to work at the NHL level because he's just not that player. He's a solid defensive player, great skater, great two-way player, but he's not a elite thinker with the puck, passer of the puck. He's okay. So you need to have someone who is elite with him. Since they put Bear with him, it's been spectacular.
He can lug the puck.
He can lug it, but he can't.
But the outlet pass is not his real strength, and it is Bear's strength. And I've noticed Darnell getting the puck over to Bear, which is, I mean, that's what he should be doing. If he's got a partner that can move the puck better than him, he should be getting the puck over to that guy. And that's what he's been doing. And what happens oftentimes is you see Bear start the play with the outlet pass, and then you see Darnell joining in the attack up the ice, either in the neutral zone or even in the attacking zone.
And he's good at that.
And there, he's something of a rover. Like you really never know when he's going to impose himself on the game, but he's very much a proactive player and a proactive offensive player, and he's been getting results. I mean, he's got 7 points. And
wow.
Anyway, it's yeah.
Well, the Bruce, their scoring chance numbers, which we track,
mm-hmm.
are outstanding. Mm-hmm. I mean, there hasn't been 2 defensemen who have had numbers this good playing top pairing tough minutes since Chris Russell and Andrei Sekera in 2016-17. So it's not that hard to get fairly good scoring chance numbers if you're in the third pairing because you don't face the tough competition. But these guys are playing really hard minutes all the time. And their numbers are as good as Sekera's and Russell's. Like Andrei Sekera had the best numbers for a top pairing D man under the way I look at hockey analytically that we've seen in the the Chiarelli / Holland era. Right. But Ethan Bear and Darnell Nurse are matching that. So that's really strong.
They're doing it on the cheap. You talked about Bear's contract. Well, Nurse's $3.2 million. There's a lot more than Ethan Bear is making, but it's a lot less than a lot of elite defensemen are making around the league. Like, to me, Darnell's on a value contract this year. Next year he won't be. This year he is. So you have that pair, the two of them, making combined under $4 million.
The funny thing, Bruce, is I like to see Klefbom. I don't mind Klefbom in the power play because I think he knows his strengths and weaknesses now. He's not taking a ton of shots. He's not trying to because he gets, that's not, he can shoot it, but he's really just trying to set up McDavid or RNH on either wall. And, but the other thing is he's going to get those cheap assists. It's not going to go to Bear or Nurse. And I'm sure they're doing it because they think Klefbom's the best option at this point. That's they're not thinking about the contracts. They're not thinking about the money, but I am. And if Bear, let's say Bear got 10 second assists or Nurse got 10 to 15 second assists on the power play this year, the way the NHL works, doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme, like on a certain level, no rhyme or reason to it. But that would give them, either one of those guys would be getting an extra $1 million or $2 million, I think, with those extra, let's say they got extra 15 assists on the power play this year. That's worth a lot of money. And, so they might not be too happy not to be on the power play, but I don't think Nurse is a first unit power play player. I think actually Bear might be. I think Bear is, and I think the power play actually might function slightly better in the second half of the year if they move Barron to that role. But for now, Clefbaum's doing a very, very good job. He's distributing the puck well, and he's solid back there. So
Yeah, well, and he's on a valid contract too, of course.
well, that's it.
Just over $4 million for Oscar,
Long term.
So, yeah, and he's locked up for another 4 years. So, you might as well give him the cheap assist so that you're not pricing yourself out with these other guys next year. So, I don't think it's necessarily a plot by the organization, but it works to their advantage if that's the way things roll, because for sure the first power play unit's going to score 10 goals for every one the second unit scores, if not 20.
Well, it's just like having a James Neal Bruce on the top power play. He's like Clefbaum. He signed up for the next 4 years, and signed, sealed, and delivered. Might as well have those two guys getting because if you put like what happened with Jason last year, right? He got an extra $1 million a year because of the power play work that he did, and so just as well to have someone who signed up long term on your power. In the future, all NHL power plays will be on. No one in their contract year will be put on their power play in the NHL anymore, unless you're a superstar. They'll just give it to somebody else to save money. But and it is working out that way for the Oilers, and there's certainly value in that.
Yeah, well, there's value in some of those D contracts for sure, and they need it because they're paying big bucks up front. So you got to find value somewhere on the team, and in the cap era, players that outperform their cap hit are absolutely essential for a successful team. You got to have them. You got to have them.
And right now, the Oilers have a number of them: Mike Smith, Ethan Bear, James Neal. Take that, Calgary. Boom. All right, Bruce, let's leave it there. You got game grades to do, eh? Are you done?
I'm getting near the end.
Okay.
Working my way through it.
All right. Bruce, thank you for talking tonight.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.